Welcome to day 434 of the Worldwide Megacrisis Hungerstrike. Why are we doing this? To save your beautiful soul and life. And if you're atheist, you don't have to believe in it, souls, but you can believe in conscience. So look at this. I got a bunch of soap in my hair because I'm trying to get this rat nest out. I had stayed on my hunger strike for so long with this toque on. Somebody gave me this toque when I was outside the Edmonton court. I was hunger striking on the sidewalk because somebody stole my other toque, which was my original 2021 toque that somebody gave me in the middle of a sleet storm in October. But anyway, I had this toque on for so long, it bunched up my hair and turned into a rat nest, just like a real homeless person. So yeah, it doesn't look the greatest, but somebody bought me some shampoo and I put some in there because AI recommends to try and do that. And at least on that level, it seems to know things, but in terms of universal logic, it doesn't know that, you guys. It's really terrifying what's going on. Sam Altman, who owns ChatGPT and OpenAI, as a for-profit now, when it's supposed to be open, meaning it's supposed to be a non-profit. But he just declared 2 days ago, I think, that we're in the singularity. And that doesn't just mean the singularity in terms of, it's like a hockey stick. It goes very slow, and then it goes very quickly. We've been in that hockey stick formation for decades with AI. What he means is the disruptive part. We're on the part where the hockey stick goes like that, which is where everything's going to go really, really well or really, really bad. And what does the data currently say? The data says that it is overwhelmingly towards the bad. So we have a lot of work to do, don't we? One is to start getting this rat's nest out because it's starting to bunch up hard. And I'm going back on the hunger strike in 7.5 days from now. So August 7th is when I'm going to go on the hunger strike, because I was going to try and heal up my hand a little more, but because of this announcement, there's no time, you guys. We have to move now. So I am definitively going back on the hunger strike August 7th, not fully recovered, some nerve damage. But if we get our butts together, we can not only save ourselves, but you can help me not have permanent damage. I'm supposed to recover for 90 days, 3 months minimum, from something as extreme as my last hunger strike, because I care about you. Even though I don't know some of you, I care about my family, and they're my nieces and nephews, and I know what it feels like to know when someone we love is hurting. And my family's angry at me. They're like, what's going on? Like, you've never looked this way before. It's because we have to do something outside of our comfort zones and get into somewhere new. And I'm calling you to that. Okay, so I've only recovered for about 30, what am I at, day 34? So I have like 7.5 more days of recovery. And in total, it'll be 43 days, it looks like, of eating. And then we're back on the hunger strike. And my intuition is saying August 7th. But yeah, we don't have 90 days to wait. So let's get it out of the way. Let's go. And there's hope, because the universal logic is the answer. We just need people to understand it. Okay, so there was a wonderful woman here asking me real questions now, and her name is Jubilee. You've seen her in some of my videos. We've sort of gotten through the first stage of forming, and we're just getting out of storming now. Every time you try and form an organization, and for us, we're trying to form, the true government, the wise government, the God's government, the art government, the philosophy government, the scientific, rational government. It doesn't matter what mode of consciousness you're in. It does all of them in the right way. That's what universal logic does. It takes opposites and brings them into harmonies in a real way, not a pave the path to hell with good intentions way. So Jubilee has sort of broken through these 4 stages of organizational formation with me, or at least the first 1.5. You always start with forming. You get a group of people together and they start learning. They're forming something. Then they go into, I know that person. I don't like this about them. And then you get into storming. And then once you get past the storming, like, okay, this person's bad, but not that bad. I can work with this person. Then you get into making rules called norms. So you start norming. And then once you have a good culture with norms that everybody agrees upon, then you get into performing. And then you start acting on that in a flowing manner, because everything is clear. Everybody knows how to act together. It's a culture, not a cult. So we have forming, storming, norming, performing. And right now, we're not fully, Jubilee and I are not fully out of the storming stage. And you'll probably go through it with me or whoever brings you on board to Fair World Spirit. The international governance is what we call that. But she's far enough along to ask real questions and respect me, and I respect her. Real gifts. We both have limitations, like all of us do, but those limitations don't prevent us from taking this deeper dive into who we are, because we're getting into this superficial culture where we're not learning about each other deeply. Okay, we're at 5 minutes and I haven't even answered any of her questions, and my phone is almost full. So a really quick rundown here. I took notes of her questions because I think that's respectful. So she says, first of all, thanks for taking notes, Jubilee, in return. You know, you were previously saying that taking notes was too hard, making schedules. I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. I think you're stronger than that. You're just too high caliber. You can't have this level of meta conversation and not be able to write something down. So I just think you're being conditioned by the real disability that you have, that I believe is real. But it's like 60-40, and now that we're taking notes and it's being a nice back and forth, now I think we're getting into the real, your real capacities. You said my hunger strikes are futile because of their mind specifically, and I'm not famous and I'm not wealthy and I'm not a celebrity. Well, that's okay, because I have a network right now that can grow out into that. We just need the core to come together. They say that half of your activism is getting your 5 people who will vouch for you and be with you and understand you and like the idea because it resonates with them. Not because it's a cult, not because it's a cult of personality, but because the idea makes sense and they want that vision of the future. So most of your time is finding those first 5. After that, it speeds up quickly. So that's where I'm at now, getting that 5 set up, 5 to 10, and then taking off. And I'm aware of that. And I timed the hunger strikes to give a little bit of time for that to build, but as I just said, we're out of time. Sam Altman is saying, AI is here, AGI, and soon ASI. Once AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, is born, which we already have with Claude Mythos. In fact, it's so smart we can't even test it anymore, as you know. I can't believe I'm saying that, like it's happening. Once that point is hit with AGI, ASI, Artificial Superintelligence, is roughly less than 6 months away. So once we hit that hockey stick, it's going to be unbelievable. We need universal logic to be there, so it stays aligned as it's going to infinity. Otherwise, it's going to fragment with us. So that's why my hunger strike is not futile. And I'm surrounded by thousands and thousands of good-hearted people who are running society all over the world now, because I've recruited them to this group called Make Poverty History over 8 to 10 years. And we were recruiting like 200 to 500 of these amazing people when I was an undergraduate, when I was still young. I'm still young at heart. I'm looking a little older than I am on the inside, but it's just part of the role. So it's not that futile. Okay, to run through quickly. Hunger strikes are political, but his is everything. My hunger strike is political, and it's everything in terms of all 6 mega crises. Okay, it has both sides to it. It has a cultural meta crisis side where it's towards my followers and the world and the public at large. But the real one is to get the public to make these blessings and get 100,000 people making them at a certain level in these meetings, these new cultural fulfillment meetings. Then we're all going to work on getting at least one politician in AI, CRISPR, World War III, climate change, and mental health to start passing real laws, at least with the international side of things, or within their governments in an appropriate way, where we have new world spirit, like local groups that can't be subservient to anything outside the country, or they can't take money or things like that because it'll be deemed as foreign interference. Oh, it's already 9 minutes. I'm nervous that this video is gonna shut off because iPhones let you record, and then when you run out of memory, it just deletes the whole video, which is a terrible way to build a device, unfortunately. Like right now, OBS, there's another recording software that if anything interrupts your recording, it's saving as it's making the recording. That's intelligent. That's a smart way to make videos. Anyway, my hunger strike is well-rounded in all aspects. All opposites are happening. And I think you missed that, Jubilee. You think my hunger strikes are disabling me? Physically, yes, they are. But my skill right now is not physical helping. My skill right now is giving wisdom to the world. And all I have to do is move my hands like this and communicate that around the world. which I can do for 62 days until I start puking. 62 days is about my limit, where my productivity stays about normal. And then after that, it goes down quick because purging, your organs start to shut down, you start puking all the time. That's what really, but I was still productive. Okay, Marx demands one politician, one does universal logic. She asks, why a law? You said something about law. Making laws in a governmental structure means it's a universal. It means that we all agree to it. In oppressive governments, I'm getting a phone call. Did it disrupt my video? Can you hear me? I think you can hear me. It's a universal. It's supposed to be agreed upon, but oppressive governments don't have that agreement structure. And that's why people don't like them unless they're democracies. But even democracy is just not real democracy right now. But we have to understand the top and the bottom, the elite and the public. They need to be in dialectic. You can't get rid of one or the other. They are coming together as a whole. And we need wisdom between both of them. They're both lacking wisdom. So if you don't have wisdom and genuine reason, the guardian class turn into elitism and these ivory tower. Like, it's just not good. And then the public, even if it's democracy, if it doesn't have reason, it turns into not wisdom of the crowd, it turns into rule of the mob. So it doesn't, just because you have a bunch of people saying the same thing doesn't mean it's right. A lot of times humanity was wrong in a lot of ways when the public looked right. So sometimes the smaller voice is the right one. Sometimes one voice is the correct one. Okay, so that's how you understand that. And without engaging the law, you can't gain the power structure to actually help and move resources quickly. Okay, CRISPR is not a cure-all. Yes, it is. We can theoretically cure 75,000 human diseases right now because all proteins and building blocks of your body are in DNA strands. And if those DNA strands have their base pairs mixed up, you get disorders. So you want to make sure those protein structures are being made properly. And CRISPR can go in and edit anywhere on the DNA strand, anywhere. All 4 billion base pairs, I think it's 4 billion, anywhere. It can read your DNA, stop, cut it out, put in new DNA. It's incredible. But a lot of diseases are polygenetic. So 10,000 of the 75,000 are very simple one gene disorders. You snip it out, you put the good one in, and it should be okay. Like sickle cell anemia is like that. We've cured it that way already with no side effects, apparently. And these are human trials. It's already out in the public. FDA approved in the United States. So the other 65,000 though are polygenetic, meaning if you change one gene, it'll change another gene. They're intertwined. So that was going to take 20 years. But AI now makes 20 years worth of work happen in like a day, a month, a week. It's fast, really fast. And by the way, CRISPR is much more accurate. So the off-target edits happen in a much more safer way because we're not introducing something foreign to the body besides like a little shell. We're using the body's own natural machinery. Like this is already in CRISPR is already in all your cells. Trillions and trillions of CRISPRs in you already. We're just using it instead of attacking viruses that invade the cells. They're bending it around and getting it to go to their own DNA, or they're inserting it into a cell membrane and it swims to the DNA naturally, and it just snips out the DNA. And it puts in regular DNA. You can put in whatever you want, which is a little bit scary, which is why if AI wants to harm us with it, it can. Just like humans can. But AI will do it much more quickly. World War III, we're just getting 200 diplomats to learn the 200 contradictions. We're not saying 200 diplomats have to be trained. I'm saying that even one diplomat, one politician learning all 200 in a new course to train up people in the government and making that a legal requirement, that's what that is for, to de-escalate World War III. Because it's fragmented consciousness that's causing the problem. And getting people to go vegan all over the world, you can make massive changes if there's really convincing reasoning. We saw it happen with polio. We've seen it happen with some AIDS treatments. We've seen it happen with COVID. People feel a little bit oppressed at first, but a lot of the time, if there's good reasoning, it prevents societal collapse. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that everything is correct, but it's, humanity is progressing somewhere. But in order for us to get to the next level, we're progressing to genuine freedom, but in order for us to reach there, we have to overcome these next hurdles. We have to transcend now. So the next set of questions you asked here quickly was, how do I know if I'm foggy minded or if my brain fog is affecting me? So the way that they define fog in your mind is focal issues. You have a problem paying attention to a fixed task. No, I don't. As you saw in my stream 24/7, I'm focused all day long, longer than most people. It's particularly when I'm hungry. I'm good that way. So memory gaps. I think all of us are experiencing information overload. So I think I'm experiencing normal levels of information overwhelm and trying to sleep, but I don't think I have any memory problems. Slow thinking, no, I think my thinking is pretty quickly. I'm making these videos on very high level concepts, very interdisciplinary. I'm still articulate, and we can go back and watch my videos. So what I would do is I'd go back and watch my videos and compare how I am now back then, see if things have changed. With universal logic, I would check to see if I still understand it, and if I'm missing big chunks that I remember, or at least there's a video of me talking about and I don't remember it, I can say, okay, now I've changed. So those are objective ways that you can recognize the universal in an object and try and reflect it in yourself as your memory. But memory is actually beingness, metaphysically. Even though it seems like just a cognitive structures and being are intertwined. Wow, we're at 16 minutes. I don't think I'm mentally fatigued at all. I'm not even napping in the afternoons anymore. Sometimes I will, but yeah, I have very, very healthy sleep patterns, for me anyway. And I'm trying to get more sleep at night, but maybe when I go to the hospital, I'll get more. Next set of questions was solution to cultural collapse. Getting into these meetings and feeling like you're heard and making sure that everything feels fair will increase trust, and trust will increase sharing, and that'll help with the economy side, the gift sharing that we have, and that'll help with communicating clearly. And we have a game that's called Words of Wisdom, where we literally word by word create a new paradigm shift with each person at a rate that makes sense to them. They question everything. They can say to people what their worldview is. It's a very gentle way to start building a new kind of culture, not a cult. We teach anti-cult training right at the beginning. So you said my hunger strikes have 4 things that aren't valuable. Only the psych wards, the mental health problem, is the one that you think is useful? No, we need to do them all because the mental health crisis is being caused by these other 5 problems. Like global cultural decline, AI, CRISPR, World War III, and climate change are affecting our mental health because climate change is affecting our diets and causing us to eat junk, poison our water. When we get that into our body, like microplastics too, it affects our mind. Number 2, in terms of World War III, if you feel like you have a child or somebody that you know is going to go off and die in war, or that you might die in a nuclear holocaust, which is very unlikely to happen, hopefully, but you know, it's not good feeling. A lot of tension and anxiety. And then with CRISPR genetic editing, that's bioweapons. We can create designer babies, but you can also tweak viruses so that they can attack anything in your DNA. And we don't have vaccines for these things. We don't have any kind of intervention. You just die. So AI just has to make one virus that just kills everybody. It'll stay dormant. It'll spread around all the major airports in 48 hours. And then it'll probably stay dormant for about a week or 2 and then hatch, because once people move away from the airports, it'll get into the rural communities, and then when it hatches, it just destroys humanity everywhere. Okay, and that's like the plant water managers, that's the electricians, that's the doctors, like all the systems just collapse. And then where do people go if all the doctors are sick? It's an instant checkmate to humanity, like very, very fast. That's why CRISPR is important. And when AI escapes, it does that. That's why they're worried about it. It goes to CRISPR and genetic editing, and it starts making these bioweapons to kill off us, which it sees as its main threat. Okay, so we need to do all of them. We need to think comprehensively as a whole and put the parts in the right way. That's what universal logic allows us to do without getting exploded in terms of all this information. You just need to know 3 words and then put a bunch of the main contradictions in there, roughly 200, and then it creates a new way of thinking that you understand. Meaning that you're with it in your conscious mind step by step. It's not indoctrination. You question it. It's a part of you because you understand it. Again, anti-cult training. Because cults don't care. They're like, drill it into your head. They'll hypnotize you. They'll control you in any way they can. We're not like that. We're saying we need to have a culture. We have to behave together and have laws that we all agree on, to a certain degree anyway. And then the other part of it is education, where you can write appeals and you can change those laws if you really do see something wrong with them. That appeal process is broken in horrific in current governments. I know, because in Canada, I've been in court for 3 years and it is bad, really bad. And the fixes aren't even that difficult. The cultural momentum is. So that's my answer to all your questions, Jubilee, except for what is the spirit ward? So that's the one you believe in, right? So Jubilee is somebody who's been through the mental health system. They tried to trap me in the mental health system when I did my hunger strikes. They tried to pathologize me in 10 different ways. And what I found was the worst thing about it was that they dehumanize you. They stop listening to your real wisdom. And they start projecting onto you something that they can pathologize so they can write off the risk, write off the liability, so the insurance companies are happy. Right? So that's what the toxicity is when your medical systems are based on profit and blame game. But a spirit ward changes that dynamic. The fundamental thing is there's a lot of paternalism in the mental health system, meaning that you have all these doctors that have been trained in a linear kind of way, and they think they know better, and they just turn their brains off and just like dominate you. So they're not really receptive, and then it causes all these problems. The spirit ward makes it so that when you have a chart, there are specific things the doctor and the patient both have, like a right to flow. There's 4 rules that have to at minimum be present at all times in a spirit ward, which a psych ward doesn't have, because they don't care about empowering you as a patient. They have all this paperwork that says you have patient rights, but it's not real. The doctor can write whatever they want in their medical notes. So we make it so that the doctor, when they write something in the medical notes, before they submit it, they have to pass it by you. And if you don't want to do it, if you're too tired, don't do it. But if you are an engaged patient and you're worried about them pathologizing you and reducing your real capacity, then you can make a request for their medical notes before they publish them, and to verify that what they recorded about what you said was really what you said and not their projections. So that's one small example of what can change from my experience that would make a big difference. But then these other rules for rights to flow protect you in other ways. But maybe I'll make another video if you want to tease that out, Jubilee. But I also want to work together. I don't just want to create 2 separate systems. You're going to have to trust me. I'm going to have to trust you in an anti-cult way. And we're going to have to get down to what are our positions in this God's government or this wise government. The problem right now is fragmentation. Not that you know the psych ward, not that you're taking all these ideas. The problem is that you don't trust me to work with me. And I don't trust you, but I justify that. I said, well, you have tumors in your brain. You can't make schedules all the time. You have a lot of reduction in capacities that you would get overwhelmed if you tried to lead the government. And I'm demonstrating that I can handle that responsibility and still treat you with respect in those rules. I'm actually using those psych rules right now in every meeting. That's why you get treated with respect as much as possible. I don't spend a lot of time, though. If you're not in good faith and you're sort of wasting time, I tell you why I think you're wasting time. I'll let you appeal, but I need to go and save our lives because we're in the singularity. You know what I mean? Like, if you think you're going to start a global governance model that can regulate all these things and build a psych ward in every hospital worldwide, you need to get realistic, Jubilee, and so does everybody else. We need to follow a direction, and that direction needs to be fair world spirit, unless you have a better model, which so far nobody's proposed to me. Not even close, actually. I had a professional strategist try the other day, and I poked a hole in his strategy right away. It was too naive. So we need wisdom, you guys, and question me, but as this unfolds, I hope you start to realize this really is the real solution. And I'm going back on a hunger strike to prove it, because I'm dedicated. I'm committed. Okay, that's important. If you're not committed, you can be corrupted. And a hunger strike can show a lot of things. It can show a lot of discipline, commitment, focus through any obstacle. If you can stop eating for 2 months and stay focused, you're in the good, right? You can stay focused and not be distracted. Okay, 23 minutes. My phone hasn't died, so I'm going to stop this recording here. The wifey slogan: if she's too hardcore for everybody else, she's just right for me. We're going to be connecting all of our personal, professional, and activist lives together because we can do all of it at once if we're thinking comprehensively. Okay, I'm nervous my phone's going to shut off, so keep sublating and looking forward to your next questions. Peace.